Morning.
A little sleepy there, are you, dear?
Just a little.
Poor guy. You have to remember to take your glasses off next time
Yeah.
when you're walking. He apparently tripped. Okay, so welcome back to the Clueless Catholic Podcast, where we have two dogs today, apparently, who want to join us for Bible study. Let's see, last week we left off with, I forgot, the Plague 10? Plague 9. We're getting to 10. And Plague 9 was, all I can remember is 3 days darkness now.
Yes. That was the last one.
And there was something I wanted to ask you about the 3 days darkness. Because my mom and dad had given me a book, and I was trying to find it real quick, but I couldn't find it, about the 3 days darkness. And they gave us a candle that would light when the 3 days darkness comes. So I was a little confused. Maybe not confused, but I just wondered, is that something in Revelation?
Revelation, yeah.
Oh, so 3 days darkness is coming again?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I just remembered that. Sorry. Got dogs.
Sophie.
Dogs are crazy. Okay. So now we're on Plague 10.
Plague 10.
Okay.
The death of the firstborn.
Oh.
So then the Lord said to Moses, "One more plague will I bring upon Pharaoh and Egypt. After that, he will let you depart. In fact, he will not merely let you go, he will drive you away. Instruct your people that every man is to ask his neighbor, and every woman her neighbor, for silver and gold article and for clothing." The Lord indeed made the Egyptians well disposed towards the people. Moses himself was very highly regarded by Pharaoh's servants and people in the land of Egypt. Moses then said, "Thus says the Lord, at midnight I will go forth through Egypt. Every firstborn in this land shall die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh to the throne, or on the throne, to the firstborn of the slave girl at the handmill, as well as all the firstborn of the animals. Then there shall be such a loud wailing throughout the land of Egypt, such as has never been, nor will be again. But among the Israelites and their animals, not even a dog shall growl, so that you may know that the Lord distinguishes between the Egyptians and the Israelites. All these servants of yours shall then come down to me and prostrate before me. They shall beg me, 'Leave us, you and all your followers. Only then will I depart.' With that, he left Pharaoh's presence in hot anger. The Lord said to Moses, 'Pharaoh refuses to listen to you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt.' Thus, although Moses and Aaron performed these various wonders in Pharaoh's presence, the Lord made Pharaoh obstinate, and he would not let the Israelites leave the land. So he just describes what's going to happen, just like he's been doing to Pharaoh, saying, "This is going to happen if you don't let us go." And of course, Pharaoh hardens his heart even more, says, "No, it's not happening." Then we pause. And in chapter 12, God describes the ritual of Passover. I'm going to read a lot of this because it's important.
Okay.
So the Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall stand at the head of your calendar. You shall reckon it with the first month of the year. Tell the whole community of Israel on the 10th of this month, every one of your families must produce for itself a lamb, one apiece for each household. If a family is too small for a whole lamb, it shall join the nearest household in procuring one and shall share in the lamb, in proportion to the number of the persons who partake of it. The lamb must be a year-old male without blemish. You may take it from either sheep or the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of this month, and then, with the whole assembly of Israel present, it shall be slaughtered during the evening twilight. They shall take some of its blood and apply it to the 2 doorposts and the lintel of every house in which they partake of the lamb. That same night they shall eat its roasted flesh with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. It shall not be eaten raw or boiled, but roasted whole, with its head and shanks and inner organs. None of it must be kept beyond the next morning. Whatever is left over in the morning shall be burned up. This is how you are to eat it. With your loins girt, sandals on your feet, and staff in your hand, you shall eat like those who are in flight. It is the Passover of the Lord. For on this same night I will go through Egypt, striking down every firstborn in the land, both man and beast, and executing judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I, the Lord. But the blood will mark the houses where you are. Seeing the blood, I will pass over you. Thus, when I strike the land of Egypt, no destructive blow will come upon you. This day shall be a memorial feast for you, which all your generations shall celebrate with pilgrimage to the Lord as a perpetual institution. For 7 days you must eat unleavened bread, and from the very first day you shall have your houses clear of all leaven. Whoever eats leavened bread on the first day to the 7th day shall be cut off from Israel. On the first day you shall hold a sacred assembly, and likewise on the 7th. On these days you shall not do any sort of work except to prepare the food that everyone needs. Keep then the custom of unleavened bread, since it was on this very day that I brought your ranks out of the land of Egypt. You must celebrate this day throughout your generation as a perpetual institution. From the morning of the 14th day of the month until the evening of the 21st day of this month, you shall eat unleavened bread. For 7 days no leaven may be found in your houses. Anyone, be he resident alien or native, who eats leavened food shall be cut off from the community of Israel. Nothing leavened may you eat. Wherever you dwell, you may eat only unleavened bread. And a few footnotes. This month is the month of Abib. Yep, I said Abib.
What is Abib?
The month of ripe grain. It occurred near the vernal equinox of March and April. Later, it was known by the Babylonian name of Nisan. Not the car. Nisan, maybe. Share the lamb, probably in the expenses of its purchase. Some explain reckon for the lamb the number of persons required to eat it. And then Passover, or in Hebrew, Pesach, in Aramaic, Pascha. In the following verses, the same root is used in the verb of to pass over. The word may be originally Egyptian, Pesach, the blow.
That's close to my last name.
Yeah. No, it's not anymore.
Well, not anymore. My maiden name.
The final plague which destroyed the Egyptian firstborn. So there's a lot of repetition in there.
Yeah, a lot of unleavened. I get it. We
Why?
don't eat unleavened bread.
Why?
I don't know why.
Whenever God repeats something in the Bible, it's important.
Right.
It's driving home a point.
Okay.
It's not just, oh, okay, we don't eat unleavened bread. I get it. It's no, we don't eat unleavened bread. We don't have time for it to rise. We're fleeing Egypt.
Oh, that's the core. Okay.
Yes. So that's the crux of it. This is all set up for the Passover, which prefigures the Last Supper. The Last Supper was a Passover meal, which prefigures the Eucharist for us.
Mm-hmm.
When Israelites and Jews celebrate the Passover in remembrance, it's not just simply remembering what happened. They believe that it is one continuous event, that it makes the original Passover present for them. The same thing about the Eucharist. It's not a re-sacrificing of Jesus over and over again. It's making present in time, the one sacrifice that was done once for all. You'll hear a lot of discussion if you ever engage with Protestants about, you're sacrificing him over and over and over again. No, it's one sacrifice. It's just making it present at the Mass.
Oh.
Same as the Passover meal that they have now makes the Passover from 6,000 years ago, whatever it was, 4,000 years ago, present now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't. It's a mystery. All right.
Makes some kind of sense.
So Moses called all the elders together. He gives them all these instructions for the Passover. And you shall observe this as a perpetual ordinance for yourself and your descendants. Thus you must always observe this rite when you have entered the land which the Lord shall give you promise. So even after he gives them the promised land, they are to remember this Passover meal. When your children ask you, what does this rite of yours mean? And that's part of the Seder meal. The children they have a whole script that they follow. You shall reply, this is the Passover sacrifice of the Lord who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt. When he struck down the Egyptians, he spared our houses. So then, at midnight, the Lord slew every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh on the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon, as well as the firstborn of the animal. Pharaoh arose in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a loud wailing throughout Egypt, for there was not a house without its dead.
Mm.
Permission to depart. Chapter 12, verse 31. During the night,
Wait a second. You said there was not a house that didn't have.
Right.
So nobody put the blood out over the door?
Well, okay. There was not a house without its dead in Egypt.
Oh.
If you followed the commands, you were spared. If you didn't, you weren't.
Right. Yeah. But the way that read to me was like all the houses.
Right. But there's also a verse in the letters that said all have sinned. We don't take that to mean literally every single person throughout all of history, because we believe Mary was preserved from sin through the grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can't take it as literal reading all the time.
Okay.
Good question, though. So basically, then Pharaoh doesn't even wait for the morning. He brings Moses and Aaron and says, leave at once. Take your Israelites with you, go and worship the Lord as you said. Take your flocks, your herds, as you demanded, and be gone. You will be doing me a favor.
He doesn't want them there.
He doesn't want them there. So the people therefore took their dough before it was leavened in their kneading bowls, wrapped in their cloaks on their shoulders. The Israelites did as Moses commanded. They asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. And the Lord indeed made the people of the Egyptians so well disposed towards the people that they let them have whatever they asked for. In other words, so later you're going to see when they go into certain places, there's going to be battles. And the Lord tells them, literally kill everyone and then take all their stuff. This is kind of the start of that without the violence.
Oh.
At least without the violence on behalf of the people. So they're despoiling the land, but the Egyptians are giving up their silver and gold to the Israelites, so that the Israelites have some wealth when they walk into their freedom.
Mm.
Okay? All right. So then the departure from Egypt, the Israelites set out from Ramsey for Succoth. About 600,000 men on foot, not counting the children. A crowd of mixed ancestry, which means half Hebrew and half Egyptian. Also went up with them. Besides their livestock, very numerous flocks and herds. Since the dough they had brought out of Egypt was not leavened, they baked it into unleavened loaves. They had been rushed out of Egypt and had no opportunity to even prepare food for the journey. The time that the Israelites stayed in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of 430 years, all the hosts of the Lord left the land of Egypt on this very date. So he goes into more regulations for Passover that no foreigner may partake of it. However, any slave who has been bought for money may partake of it, provided you have first circumcised him. But no transient alien or hired servant may partake of it. So this is something that is specifically for the Israelites. Um, let's see here. It must be eaten one in the same house, and you must not take of its flesh outside of the house. You shall not break any of its bones. The application of these words to our Lord on the cross shows that the Paschal Lamb was a prophetic type of Christ, immolated to free men from the bondage of sin. So you get that? Because Christ never had any broken bones on the cross, which is important because the Romans, when someone was hanging on the cross, they originally just hung them by their arms. And you don't die from really blood loss or anything. You die from suffocation because you can't breathe. You can't expand your lungs when you're hanging like this. Well, the Romans got tired of the feet flailing and kicking around while they were dying. So they nailed the feet to the cross, which actually extended death because even though it was painful, oh hush, even though it was painful, the prisoners learned that they could stand on those nails, lift themselves up and breathe, and then sag back down again until they had to take another deep breath, and then they would lift themselves. So it would extend how long it took them to die until they just couldn't push themselves back up anymore. So they would get sick of how long it would take to die, and they would take these massive hammers and they would break the legs of the prisoners so they couldn't stand. Oh, crucifixion was terrible. Well, when they went out to Jesus, they said, he's already dead. And instead of breaking his legs, they thrust a spear to make sure he was dead.
Yeah.
And out came water and blood, which is really just the plasma and the blood platelets separating, and so it looks like water.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of correlations here. There's also the fact that they make a point of no aliens, no one outside of the house, no one outside of the country may partake of it. There's the Protestants really take issue with the fact that they can't partake of Eucharist with us. They don't believe as we believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing here. It wouldn't surprise me if this is where we get the idea that you have to be in communion with Rome to partake of the Eucharist. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is where that theology came from.
Yeah.
But you don't take the flesh outside of the house being the church. The flesh stays in the church. All right. So then we had the death of the firstborn. They were drilled out of Egypt. Then we jump to chapter 13, the consecration of the firstborn. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, "Consecrate to me every firstborn that opens the womb among the Israelites, both of man and beast, for it belongs to me. Remember this day on which you came out of Egypt, that place of slavery. It was a strong hand that the Lord brought you away. Nothing made with leaven must be eaten. And there, on this day of your departure in the month of Abib, that's just fun to say. Therefore, it is this month that you must celebrate this rite." Okay. Hang on here. There was something I was going to read. There's again a lot of repetition in here. Um, when the Lord your God has brought you into the land of Canaanites, which he swore to you and your fathers he would give you, you shall dedicate to the Lord every son that opens the womb, and all the male firstlings of your animals shall belong to the Lord. Every firstborn of an ass you shall redeem with the sheep, and do not redeem it, you shall break its neck. Or if you do not redeem it, you shall break its neck. Every firstborn son you must redeem. If your son should ask you later on, what does this mean? You will tell him, with a strong hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, that place of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed every firstborn in the land of Egypt, every firstborn of man and beast. That is why I sacrifice to the Lord everything of the male sex that opens the womb, and why I redeem every firstborn of my son. So again, he's talking about consecrating the firstborn male that opens the womb to God.
Mm-hmm.
From a symbolical or symbolic standpoint, Christ was that firstborn of all creation, firstborn of Mary, opened the womb, so on and so forth. He was dedicated. He was the Paschal Lamb. No bones were broken. There's all of these analogies, or not analogies, correlations between Exodus and the Gospels and the Passion of Christ.
I can see that.
Excuse me. All right. So now Pharaoh let the people go. God did not lead them by the way of the Philistines' land, though this was the nearest, for he thought, should the people see that, they would have to fight. They might change their mind and return to Egypt. Instead, he rerouted them towards the Red Sea by the way of the desert road. In battle array, the Israelites marched out of Egypt. Moses also took Joseph's bones along, for Joseph had made the Israelites swear solemnly that when God should come to them, they would carry his bones away with them. Setting out from Succoth, they camped at Etham, near the edge of the desert. And it goes on. This is where God shows them to travel by day and night. Um, and he shows himself as a column of cloud to show them the way during the day. And at night, he would convert into a column of fire to give them light. All right.
Joseph was the Joseph from Genesis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to remember he was buried
400 years before all of this happened. Remember, they were in Egypt for 430 years.
Yeah.
So they start heading out, and they get to the Red Sea. And Pharaoh was already near when the Israelites looked up and saw the Egyptians were on the march in pursuit of them. In great fright, they cried out to the Lord, and they complained, and they do this a lot, to Moses. Were there no burial places in Egypt that you had to bring us out here to die in the desert? Why did you do this to us? Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Did we not tell you this in Egypt when we said, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? Far better for us to be slaves of the Egyptians than to die in the desert. But Moses answered the people, fear not, stand your ground, and you will see the victory of the Lord that he will win for you today. These Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. Then the Lord himself will fight for you. You have only to keep still. Then the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward, and you lift up your staff with hand outstretched over the sea. Split the sea in two, that the Israelites may pass through it on dry land. But I will make the Egyptians so obstinate that they will go in after them. Then I will receive glory through Pharaoh and all his army and his chariots and charioteers. The Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I receive glory through Pharaoh and his chariots. So Moses raises his staff, splits the Red Sea, and they cross through on dry land. And the Egyptians followed in pursuit. All of Pharaoh's horses and chariots and charioteers went after them right into the midst of the sea. In the night watch, just before dawn, the Lord cast through the column of fiery cloud upon the Egyptians' force a glance that threw it into a panic. And he so clogged their chariot wheels that they could hardly drive. With that, the Egyptians sounded the retreat before Israel because the Lord was fighting for them against the Egyptians. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the seas, that the water may flow back to the Egyptians upon their chariots and charioteers." So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea at dawn, and the sea flowed back to its normal depth. The Egyptians were fleeing head on towards the sea when the Lord hurled them into their midst. As the water flowed back, it covered the chariots and the charioteers of Pharaoh's whole army, which had followed the Israelites into the sea. Not a single one of them escaped. I was reading an article because it's long, there's always people trying to discredit stories in the Bible and this, that, and the other. But I was reading an article a couple weeks ago that said they had found a bunch of old chariots
they
at the
did?
bottom of the Red Sea, encrusted with, stuff that grows in the sea and stuff. But yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So chapter 15 is primarily a song. I'm not going to sing it.
Oh, okay. You should sing it.
Not going to do it.
Do you know the melody?
No.
Okay, then you can't sing it.
Not going to read it either.
Okay.
Basically recounting all of everything that happened. Then
Is it a song it's just something for them to remember? That's usually how songs are. It's something, it's not like a
It was a
jingle,
song
but
of praise to God.
okay. They're praising God. Okay, got it.
Yes. So then Moses led Israel forward from the Red Sea, and they marched out of the desert of Shur. After traveling for 3 days through the desert without finding water, they arrived at Marah, where they could not drink the water because it was too bitter. Hence, this place is called Marah, as the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" He appealed to the Lord, who pointed out to him a certain piece of wood. When he threw this into the water became fresh.
Oh.
It was here that the Lord is making rules and regulations for them, put them to the test. If you really listen to the voice of the Lord, your God, he told them, and do what is right in his eyes, if you heed the commandments and keep all his precepts, I will not afflict you with any of the diseases for which I afflicted the Egyptians, for I, the Lord, am your healer. Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water. And that is the end of chapter 15.
Okay. So we escaped Egypt.
We escaped Egypt.
And we're over into Elim, whatever.
Yes. And now they're under a bunch of palm trees with springs of water.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Is it tropical?
It's a desert.
Well, there you go. So what happens next?
You'll have to tune in next week to see.
Oh. So we're preparing. I have a feeling we're going to have some battles coming then, because you kept saying there's more battles.
That will be a while.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be lots of grumbling and complaining.
I can sense that.
So you have an entire nation of people, which it's really like a 3 or 4 day hike from Egypt to Israel. But it takes them 40 years.
Why did it take so long? Were they crawling?
Worst navigator ever is Moses.
How do you know that?
Well, you'll find out why it takes them 40 years.
Okay. I can't wait. It's supposed to take 3 days. Takes 40 years.
Yep.
Taking the scenic route?
Oh, yeah.
Are we?
Oh, yeah.
Is this where the commandments come into play?
Yep.
Hey, I know some things, but I don't know a lot of things.
So you're not completely clueless.
I don't know. Maybe not completely, but sort of there. Well, that was really good. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, friends. Until next time, then. See you then.